hold tight. This ain't no ordinary loop. UFC's the battleground where warriors collide. Die Hard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna dig deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. Die Hard MMA, we're ready for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Happy Friday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome back to the Undefeated Post-Weigh-In Show. I'm your boy Clint, your host, as always, and it's time for the best damn MMA show on planet Earth, the Friday Undefeated Post-Weigh-In Show. I hope you all got your tinfoil caps. We have a dumpster dive-worthy type of UFC card. We've got action off to the side. We're sweating Ovi trying to get that hat trick that's going to go ahead and get him the record for goals. I know this is an MMA show, but you guys know I love my hockey. So there's a lot going on today. We had weigh-ins, we've had fights shuffled around, there's people missing weight. This is the week for the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show, everybody. And as you may not know, if it's your first time watching, never a bad read on this show, never a bad bet on this show. We take all the information we can gather throughout the week, we combine it with Monday's breakdowns and what we already think and know about these fighters. We see who won the mental battle. We let you know how these people size up. I do the homework so you don't have to. And then you've got all the information you need to make some money at UFC Vegas 105. How's everybody doing? Dixon Sider in the house. Cody Gibson, useless in the chat. What's going on, TH? Anthony Phillips. We've got Alexander White, Sox, Kent Davies, Ninja Baker Daddy. What's going on? And I agree, this is a sleeper card. I think this one's going to be fun, you guys. This one's going to be fun. And as per usual, I'm going to have way too much action on a card like this. It's what I do, right? But hey, if anybody, you guys, you should be following me on social media, not just on the YouTube, not just on the Twitch. You're following me on my social media. I posted up a parlay with PFL's ass-kicking machine, Jason Jackson, on Thursday. We got that one home. So we've already got half of a parlay locked up going into Saturday. We're feeling good. I like this card. I like these fighters. I know my way around some of these people. So I think we're going to have a good weekend, you guys. We are 3-1 in the last 4 events. So trying to put a little something together here. Finally turning my ass around when it comes to the betting game. And let's get into it, shall we? Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Share the show if you haven't already. And last but certainly not least, get subscribed to the channel. First fight of the night, we have got Talita Carr, and she is taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. Carr looking good on the scales. Look at the veins. Look at the veins in my girl's arm. Popping out all good and stuff. You love to see that. Carr made 115 pounds. No issues for her. And as always, the ever sultry Vanessa Demopoulos, no issues making weight for her on the scales today either. She's got that big old thick meaty flex you love to see for women's MMA. Now, when these two face off, Vanessa Demopoulos does seem to be just a little bit bigger, and you kind of expect that. Talita Carr is not the largest human being ever. It was interesting because Vanessa had some stuff to say. She was kind of jawing the whole time. You got to feel like maybe there's a little bit of confidence coming from her going into that, which makes me very, very nervous. You guys know I dove feet first in on this one. Vanessa Demopoulos has been gifted a couple decisions in the UFC, and that's not a real good reason to bet against her. She always comes out and fights her hardest. She always makes the fights close and competitive enough. But she's had a couple questionable decisions go her way before, and I think her luck's kind of run out at this point. Talita Allen Carr is the more skilled BJJ player. She's the more skilled grappler. And Vanessa Demopoulos gets taken down essentially constantly. Like, this girl does not know how to stop takedowns. So with Allen Carr working on her wrestling, she took a trip out to Fight Ready, spent a little time working on that wrestling offensive game. I think she'll be able to hit takedowns when she needs to. And then she does do enough with the hands. She does do enough threatening submissions. She does do enough with the ground and pound. I think she'll score, as opposed to like the Kanako Murata fight where Vanessa got taken down and Kanako did nothing, absolutely nothing, just kind of stayed on top of her, and Vanessa won moments off of her back, just throwing volume even though she was on her back. I think in this situation, you're going to get Allen Carr, who will do enough to actually secure those minutes when she's controlling from top position. So I jumped in at Pick'ems. I got minus 110 here. And guys, I will tell you, you guys know I'll admit to you everything, right? I'm always open with you guys. I'm always honest with you guys. I made too big of a bet on this one. I went 3.3 units to win 3 at minus 110. Allen Carr was the underdog a little bit earlier in the week when this line first opened up. So it's a spot where I was super, just rose-tinted glasses, right? Like, I saw the pure path to victory and went, oh, wrong person favored. I'm going to smash this. And I jumped in hard. And then I went 3 units on a split decision-y women's MMA fight. What are you doing, bro? So I know full well I'm in too deep on this one, you guys, okay? Probably should have been a 1 unit. I usually go, like, most of my standard plays are 2 units unless I'm, like, taking a big shot at a questionable underdog or it's just somebody I'm not really sold on. Then I do the 1 unit thing. But generally, I'm betting, like 2.2 to win 2 on a minus 110 line. That's just kind of how I play the game. So it should have been a normal 2.2 unit bet. For being women's MMA, it probably should have been a 1.1 to win 1. I went 3.3. So now I have to live with the consequences. The number has held very strongly and securely here at this pick'em number. It looks like Allen Carr is getting just like a little bit more love, so she's trending towards being the ever so slight favorite here. I can see this fight being close. I can see it being competitive. We're going to need Allen Carr to be able to hit these takedowns and then not gas out deeper in this fight. That's all it comes down to here for me. If you're taking the shot on Vanessa, she's done nothing but pay you out, except for, the time I bet on her when she got armbarred. But the, cheating aside, we already ranted about that on Monday, so we don't need to get back into that. So, I'm going to take my shot here, you guys. I'm going to take the more skilled fighter, the more high-level fighter, the more credentialed fighter. And I know that doesn't always work out because in women's MMA, sometimes toughness is all it takes to win a fight. And that's usually, my angle. Usually I'm the one saying that it comes down to that toughness. So a little nervous about this one. I'm not going to lie, but I am balls deep here in this women's MMA fight. And you guys would expect nothing less because I'm a complete degenerate and it's what I do. It's the sketchiest fights on the board where I feel like I've got an edge and I try to abuse them. So we've got, Salter, thank you for asking. Kennedy pulls out day of the fight. I guess they said he got ill, I believe. So Kennedy is sick. Kennedy is out. We have a replacement fighter for him. And then Daniel Santos. Also, guys, Daniel Santos had struggles making weight, fell ill, and also is off this card. So unfortunately, we get no Santos versus Davey Grant because I went on Dan Levy's show, Half the Battle, this week, and that was my fight to watch. Like, I was very much looking forward to seeing those two guys battle it out. I thought that was going to be maybe the most entertaining fight on the card. I was also this close to getting to a Daniel Santos bet on that one. And I'm pretty upset that got canceled because everybody and their mother was just piling in on Davey Grant. And guys, I've been the Davey Grant guy. The Davey Grant easy money days, I believe, are gone. Like, now's the time when we look to try to fade Davey Grant at these cheap price tags when we get the chance to. Hurts my soul to say that because I'm such a big fan of the guy, but that's truly what I believe. And I feel like Daniel Santos was the next generation and he was going to be able to kind of dice him up. So I'm disappointed that one's off the board, but c'est la vie, there's plenty of other action on the card. Speaking of other action on the card, the next fight is Martin Budet taking on Uran Sati Baldv. Now, Uran is coming in here on short notice, filling in for Kennedy Nzechukwu. And the last names on this fight, by the way, we're going from Nzechukwu to Saltabaliev. Yeah, thank you. I deserve all the praise for rattling both those names off back to back tightly like that. He looked fantastic on the scales today. However, this is a 205er, I believe, from the LFA. He was the LFA light heavyweight champion coming in here on short notice. So he weighed in at 222.5 pounds. Guys, this is not a heavyweight. Like, you need to look at him right now and be like, look, he's coming in at 222, no weight cut, no time, no prep, short notice opportunity with the UFC. And this is what Buddy looks like at heavyweight. He's not a heavyweight. So bear that in mind. Now, Martin Budet comes up there and he's rocking that Elon body. This guy looks like he got added to a group text. He came in 266 pounds, every bit a heavyweight. This man tipping the absolute scales to the maximum here in this spot. Budet is a big boy. Now, when they face off, it does look like the UFC newcomer Uran is the slightly taller man, but what you guys don't see here is when they got done with this face off and they kind of backed away from each other, Budet is twice as thick as this guy. Like, he's got a nice frame, don't get me wrong, but like I mentioned, he's very lithe, he's very skinny. He's a 205er, whereas Budet, that barrel chest of his, that Tesla looking Elon Musk chest of his, this guy could not make 205 if he chopped one of his legs off. It ain't happening. So even though Budet is at a slight size disadvantage here, or a height disadvantage here, I do not believe he's going to be at any kind of a strength disadvantage here. And, you know, prepping for a guy like Kennedy Nzechukwu, you got to think that this body type, actually, you're going to be prepared for it. You know, Kennedy is very tall. Kennedy is very long. So I think he's going to be prepared to face somebody that's got this height and reach type of situation there. So I still kind of like Martin Budet in this spot. Budet is not a very good fighter, you guys. People got mad at me for glazing Budet on Monday, and I promise you I wasn't glazing him. I was just pointing out that Kennedy is no prize. He's going to look to bully this guy against the fence. He's going to look to take him down. He's got that Kimura from top position, which I don't know if we're going to get the props for this fight because they've been so terrible about getting all the bets and the props and all that kind of stuff out on this card. For whatever reason, it's just not a high priority for them right now. If we do get the exact method props, this is maybe now where you look to go ahead and lock in that Kimura, because Budet is very much a Kimura fisher. He likes to get on top of people, bully them with strength and size, and then he takes that arm home. I don't know that this 205er is going to be able to stop those takedowns. And if Budet can get on top of you and overpower you, a guy who's a weight class too small, that's who I'm looking for Budet to be able to submit. I have not done my research, you guys. I do not know Uran. I am not familiar with his game. So I can't give you like a full-on preview breakdown of this fight or anything like that. But from what I understand, he gasses. I've seen multiple people who I trust, who I know, who have looked into this fight, who have said that he slows down. And that's the kind of thing where on short notice, up a weight class, I don't really want a guy who's slowing down. And I don't want a guy facing off against a pretty decent top game grappler who's slowing down. I don't want a guy who gets tired when all Budet wants to do is shove you up against that cage, grind on you, and knee you to the gut. Like, so yeah, for me, it's Budet. Budet or pass. He's about minus 160 is what I'm seeing, Martin Budet. And for the sake of the show, for the sake of the picks, I'm going to go ahead and pick Martin Budet to win this fight. I do think he does enough to get it done. I think he'll pin this guy up against the fence and kind of do what he wants to do in that realm. And then if he slows down, because like we mentioned, he's on short notice, if he tires out and slows down, then I fully expect Martin Budet to take an arm home. That's kind of how I see this fight playing out. The next fight up is Victor Henry. And Victor Henry is taking on Pedro Falcao. 135.5 for Victor Henry, the Weird Al of MMA. Pedro Falcao, no issues up there. He did need the box of shame. Looked a little sucked out. You can see those cheekbones popping up there. However, he looked like he was moving well enough. Not a real issue, not a real problem. When they face off, it does look like Pedro Falcao is ever so slightly the larger man. Now, that does give me a little bit of pause here because we've seen Victor Henry when he's not the bigger, stronger man. He can get kind of bullied around a little bit. We saw in Henry's last fight, he wasn't able to handle the size and strength of Jourdain. Jourdain, a very good submission grappler. That guillotine especially, he just kind of sells out for it. Falcao is a much better submission grappler, I think. Overall, than Charles Jourdain is, but he's also a specialist in that. He's going to be looking for a double leg takedown. He gets stuffed on that attempt pretty regularly. He's not very good at wrestling, and he's going to be better at BJJ just in general. So Victor Henry was able to get on top of someone like Charles Jourdain. I think he's going to play floor as lava here. I think he's going to do everything he can to stay away from this Pedro Falcao guy. On my prop show this week, which by the way, guys, Clint's Hot Props, make sure you check that out. I'm having a good time with that one. Very chef inspired. We're going to be cooking up some winners over on that show. Check it out here on the channel. I like Victor Henry by decision. I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it, right? Like Victor Henry's a guy that relies on volume and speed and footwork, and we're in the small cage, and that generally favors the grappler to some extent. So he's going to have to fight for his life up against the fence against Pedro Falcao. Falcao by sub plus 750. If you're looking for subs, which actually I think there's a lot of subs available on this particular card, I do think that's a path to victory here, and I do think that's an option for Pedro Falcao if he's able to get that going. But the solid takedown defense of Victor Henry, the jab, the volume, stick and move, use that footwork, stay away, I think that fight game plan will work well enough for Victor Henry to win 2 of the 3 rounds here, because Falcao is kind of your classic Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy that doesn't know how to get the fight where he wants it, so he just swings heavy leather and then dives in on legs. And if he can get you to the ground, you're in trouble. But if he can't get you to the ground, he's going to be out of his depth on the feet. So I like Victor Henry here. I like Victor Henry by decision. I don't know that I'm going to bet this one, though, because Victor Henry at chalk is just not a thing I've ever been into. It's not a thing I've done. I'm not huge on Falcao either. I'm not sold that he's necessarily really a UFC caliber guy, but he's got UFC caliber grappling. So if he does get this fight to the ground, that could be wraps for Victor Henry. Next fight up, Luk Bunme takes on Istela Nunees. Both ladies made 115 pounds. Luk Bunme, no issues for her, obviously. She's a natural atom weight who's taking this fight on here. And Istela Nunees, who is big, who is thick, who does look solid up there. Big, nice flex from her. No real issues. Look at those abs. Size difference. Yeah, you've got Istela Nunees, who is a decent bit larger than Luk Bunme. Like I said, very natural atom weight if there was a 105 class. Luk Bunme is top 5. She's your champion. You know, that's kind of what we're dealing with here with Luma. So she's going to be out of her depth in this size-wise. However, where she's not going to be out of her depth is skill-wise. Muay Thai versus Muay Thai. Loma is going to absolutely dice this girl apart. We have seen how this girl falls apart over the course of a 15-minute fight. Round 1, she always starts out really strong. And then round 2, round 3, round 4, like as things start to roll downhill, she just kind of falls apart and doesn't really got it, you know? I'm torn on this fight, you guys. I'm really torn on this fight. The pick is obviously Luk Bunme, but she is nearing a 10-1 favorite number here. Loma never looks 10-1. Now, you go back to the Elise Reed fight a couple fights ago. I called the submission on that one, you guys. I told you guys that Loma's been working on her grappling. I told you Elise Reed has no takedown defense, and you're going to be able to hit takedowns on her. What did Loma do? She slammed her to the ground. She backpacked her. She choked her out. Now, I actually think if Loma wants to go to the grappling in this fight, that is something that she can do. That will be a path to victory available to her. However, she's dealing with a much larger opponent and somebody who also is not going to be looking to engage. We're going to see Istela Nunees look to kind of skate the side of the cage. She's backpedaling a lot. She's not really coming forward. She doesn't like to engage in car crash. She likes to keep the distance. So unless Loma's game plan is straight up come out here, grapple, look for those takedowns, I don't know that Loma is going to get a whole lot of takedowns in this fight, because she's going to be chasing someone who doesn't really want to stand in the middle and trade with her in this fight. So I think there's a very good chance this fight goes to decision. And if it does go to decision, Nunees is very well known for winning the first round. She's going to have a long jab here. She's going to be trying to stay away from Luk Bunme, and she's going to look to sting her with punches. So honestly, you guys, I can see the plus 3.5 here for Istela Nunees cashing relatively easily. She's plus 3.5, plus 120 on DraftKings. You can actually get a plus number for the plus 3.5. And if there was ever a fight that Istela Nunees was going to be able to win, it would be this one, just because she's so tall, she's so long, and if she isn't having to worry about somebody who's able to just crash the pocket and close the distance on her, then she's going to end up in a 15-minute Muay Thai fight where she doesn't have to worry about the power. You know what I mean? Loma hits hard, right? But not like some of the other people that Istela Nunees has faced. Loma does not have Yasmin Horegi power. Loma does not hit like Ariane Carnelossi does. Like, she's more technical. She's more skilled. So I can see this thing going 15 minutes and being a 29-28 fight where Loma wins rounds 2 and 3, but Estela Nunes gets out of there with round 1. So the plus 3.5 is interesting to me. The Estela Nunes by split decision or the Estela Nunes by decision at 8-1, those seem like crazy enticing options here to me. I like Luk Bunme by submission as well, but the problem is, I said this on the Monday show, I can't guarantee she's looking for takedowns. If I had a hotline, if someone knows the coach, like, people hit me up, hit the DMs. If you can promise me the game plan is for Loma to go out there and flex those grappling skills, Estela's hosed. She's getting flexed on. Like, Loma's going to come out, take her down, dump her with those Muay Thai trips, and then she'll backpack her and choke her out. It won't be a problem. But if Loma goes, hey, this girl likes Muay Thai and I'm better at Muay Thai, it's going to be a close, greasy decision. And I think Loma gets her hand raised, but we've seen what these judges are capable of in that kind of a circumstance. So don't parlay the 10-1, guys. Don't parlay the 10-1. That's all I'm saying. There's going to be better spots to back Loma at much better price tags. This one's okay to just let sail on by. The Loma round 2, round 3 submission props, I think is decent. The number's too short, though. Loma should be 5-6-1 by sub, and they're only giving you plus 300. So maybe that's the sign, right? Maybe that's the sign that somebody does, in fact, know what the game plan is. Because if she comes out and grapples, that sub prop is going to be easy money. Next up, you've got McKe, and he's taking on Daniel Funza. Reese making 171 on the dot here. And Funza cheating with the sunglasses, coming in here at 170.5, looking solid. I mean, Reese looks like Skeletor, very tall, lanky, skinny. This guy is much more filled out, much thicker. And when they face off, Reese is going to have a little bit of a size advantage, but obviously the athletic thickness advantage, the muscle, is on the side of Daniel Funza. This fight's interesting to me. Now, we're finally seeing some market respect here for all the people taking stabs at McKe to finally get on the board here. He's been plus 140, plus 130 basically the entire week. He ticked on down to plus 120, and now he popped back up to like plus 125. So there's a little resistance on that coming back the other way. You guys, I think this is a great live bet spot. Daniel Funza is going to start fast here. Daniel Funza is going to try to hurt McKe. We've seen that in the past. Reese is very tough. Reese is very durable. Reese has been able to survive that before, and then he turns it up, and then he cooks you over the course of the rest of the fight. And once he turns it up on you and he starts cooking you, people fade. People fall away big time once he starts getting going. So I kind of like the late round props for McKe. I do kind of think he finally gets this one. I'm not entirely sold on this guy, Funza, and I think McKe's durability can hold up for one more fight. I also kind of like violence in this fight, you guys. I think an under or fight doesn't go the distance makes sense here on this one because Funza is going to come out hard and heavy trying to get that finish. Reese is a walking punching bag. He's going to take all the damage and maybe fall over. And then if he doesn't get finished, I think Funza is going to be out of his depth, and he's not going to be able to keep pace with someone like McKe down the stretch of this fight. The McKe round 3 prop is something that I'm definitely probably going to be having a taste of. I know I say definitely probably, like that's something that even happens. Round 3 for McKe is 11-1. And I kind of feel like I'm going to have to do that, right? At 11-1, I kind of feel like that's a thing I'm going to have a piece of. So for me, it's dog or pass. The market movement here is really trying to kind of keep me away from actually pulling the trigger on McKe because he should be trending closer towards pick'em. Like if everybody and their mother is piling in here on McKe, he should be trending closer towards pick'em, but instead there's resistance there, and they're going, no, he's not going to be pick'em. He's not going to be favored. We're going to move it back the other way. I don't like that. You know, I don't like that. I think that's kind of showing the writing on the wall that maybe McKe is not the right side, but these fights are sketchy and low level, so I don't know how much you can write home about that either. Next up, you have got Diane Barbosa taking on Diana Belita. Had to make sure I got those right. 125.5 for Belita pictured here. She's a natural 115er. She's tall, she's lanky, she's skinny, and she never really had a problem making weight at that weight class. So interesting to have her moving up here an extra 10 pounds. Diana Barbosa, on the other hand, needs those extra 10 pounds. Look at the beefcake on this chick. Look at her. She can flex. She's got abs. She's got bigger pecs than me. And those are pecs, mind you. These are not boobs. She is in incredible shape. Look at the physique on this chick. And then when they face off, Barbosa is still the larger woman, and she is the larger woman. She is way thicker. Look at the arms. Look at the difference. You can see bicep and tricep muscles on this chick compared to the string bean of Belbita's on the other side. And you can't, Belbita's got no abs to speak of or anything like that at this point. You guys, this is a wrap. Like, what are we doing here? This is quite obviously Diana Belbita showing up for a paycheck. She did some interview where she's talking about all the things that she fixed and how she made everything better, and she's going to be violent, and she's going to look forward to, coming out and throwing her weight around out there and proving bullshit. Get out of here with that. She is taking one last paycheck before she goes off and rides off into the sunset. She's going to get her ass whooped in this fight, differently from the Luk Bunme fight, where I don't want you laying the 10-1. I was going to make Diana Barbosa an anchor, you guys, but at 10-1, I can't. Like, there's no meat on the bone. Even if you're doing something with her, like, let's just look here. 10-1 favorite on Diana Barbosa, and let's say you like Victor Henry, right? That's going to bring Victor Henry from -200 down to -160. Okay, that's not nothing. 40 cents worth of value, I guess that's not nothing. So maybe Diana Barbosa would be capable of being an anchor here for us, but I don't like enough money lines on this card to to anchor my way all the way down the screen here on this one. But she's anchor worthy, you guys. She really is. The inside the distance got smoked. As soon as that number got dropped, people piled in. She is now -175 to finish this fight. She's -125 to win by sub. And I actually think the sub is the way to go here, you guys. We've seen Diana Belbita just be, arm noodly, weak, and she's gotten finished via armbar specifically 4 separate times. Of the 5 submission losses she has, 4 of them are by armbar specifically. And actually, I want to see if that number is up. BetMGM is known for doing the exact finish props. The problem is, you guys, guillotines, rear naked chokes, arm bars, they never give you a very good deal on those because those are the most likely submissions to hit anyway. So if the sub is like 4-1 for the sub, the arm bar will be 5-1. Like, there's really no point in doing the specific sub except for bragging rights, because you're not going to get a better number for it, generally speaking. But let me see here. Diana Barbosa via armbar is 3-1. And actually, and that's not half bad, because her submission prop is -125, -135, depending on where you're shopping. And the armbar specifically is 3-1. So if you've got any type of credit on MGM where you can get down for more than, a $25 minimum bet or something like that, that might be an okay look, actually. Because I was going to say there's really nothing. There's no meat on the bone there, right? But going from -125 to +300, there's some meat on the bone there. That's some meat if I've ever seen some. So I mind the armbar at +300, and I might actually have to do a little something with that, because I do think that's the way this is going to go. I think she's going to get taken down. She's going to get flattened out. She'll get judo tossed or something like that. And her arms are just too weak. As soon as one of those arms gets extended, it's never coming back. It's never coming back. Yeah. This chick's going to take Belbita's arm home with her. Honorable Grant shot here. He made weight. He got to give him his props. Lost his opponent. Sorry, dude. But got to, give you your moment here in the sun on the Undefeated post-weigh-in show. Speaking of which, if you guys haven't yet, smash that like button. The next fight up, though, we have got Jiří Procházka Light coming in here, taking on Torrence Finny. Rob Valentine, Robzilla himself, 185.5. Love the runes. He looks like he's in good, solid shape and condition. I like this guy. He's intense. He's ready to fight. He's got the Naruto symbol around his belly button there. So, he's got that 9-tailed fox within his soul. Like, I like this guy. That's my kind of guy, right? Like, he's all kinds of nerd looking like Kratos up there from God of War. And then you've got Torrence Finny. This man is jacked. My goodness. Nobody since William Knight has been as jacked as Torrence Finny. Welcome to the show, kid. These two face off, and it's hysterical. This is freak show level fighting right here, you guys. Look at this. They look 2 weight classes different. Torrence Finny is tiny. He is so small. And then Robzilla is a big man at 185 pounds. I talked about this on the Monday show, you guys, and I had some people that were kind of like sloughing this off and laughing at it a little bit. These short, stocky, combustion wrestlers, I just think they're capped. I think they're limited. Like, yes, Torrence Finny is a very good wrestler, but look at the size difference here. I know Valentine is no prize. Valentine may not be the guy to stop that Torres Finny train, right? Valentine may end up on his back and Finny might be able to climb on top of him and hold him down. But like, look, I think that Torres is going to have a hard time controlling this man physically. I think Torres is going to have a hard time taking this guy down. Once he does get him down, I think he's going to have a hard time keeping him there. It's just going to be a problem because of the size and the raw power and the strength. So I fully expect Torres Finny to start pretty fast, get this fight going, get a couple takedowns, and then Rob Finny could work his way back into this fight the longer it goes. I like the over 1.5 here. Minus 160 for the over 1.5. I don't believe that Torres is so slick on the mat. He's going to tap out a guy like Rob Finny just immediately. Rob is a chaos type of fighter, so there is always that chance that this fight finishes early because Rob decides, hey, we're going to brawl this out, and both guys get hurt immediately. You know, that kind of thing. But the Rob Valentine finish props, like Rob by KO at 9-1, like, guys, why do we think Torres Finny is a minus 300 favorite in the UFC? Rob hurt his arm in his UFC debut. He had a submission all but locked up. What number is attached to this fight? If Rob wins his Ultimate Fighter finale fight via submission round 1, what is this number then? I just think this is insane. I am this close. Like, I want so badly to bet Rob in this spot. I want to bet the over, and I'm staring at them, and I don't know what's stopping me. I'm afraid for some reason. Torres Finney's got all the hype. Shout out my boy Wiz. I know Wiz likes this guy. He trains with him, so he's like in there in camp with him and stuff like that, but I ain't buying. I don't think Torres Finney is big enough. I don't think he's got the right stature for the UFC, and I think because of that, he'll end up being limited, and I do think he's going to get parlay buster type material. I just don't know if it's this fight or if it's next fight. I got to decide if I want to bet on Rob. That's all it comes down to. I got to decide if I want to trust Robzilla with my money or not. Next fight up, you got Luis Geruli taking on Ode Osborne. 125 on the dot for Luis, 125.5 for Ode Osborne. Luis looked pretty rough. Look at him. Like, you can see this guy looks like he's got a color difference from his shoulders to his face. Like, look at that. Look how pale he is from the neck up. What happened to this man? The makeup artist went nuts on this guy. He looked all right. He moved okay, but he definitely looked like he had a bit of a tough weight cut. But the toughest weight cut in UFC history belongs to Ode Osborne. Look at this man. He is so sucked out. I mean, don't get me wrong. The physique is incredible. You can see every single muscle in that giant pec and arm of his. But look at his eyes. Look at Ode's eyes. He's completely, like, you can see his skull, his whole skull. You can see every bit of it. One of those eyes is going to fall out, and he's going to need to get Michael Bisping to tell him, you know, who his eye guy is. Like, I don't know how Ode Osborne keeps doing this to himself. When they size up, Ode is obviously the taller of the two men, but it's not like an insane size difference. Luis Geruli, apparently not a small man, because Ode is huge, and they do size up decently well considering, you know. You guys, Luis Geruli is my other leg. We cashed on the ass-kicking machine, Jason Jackson, in PFL in a 2-leg parlay. The other leg is Geruli. So all I need is Geruli to not die in round 1, because that is all Ode can do. It's round 1 or bust. If you don't get him out of there, if he doesn't get you out of there in the first round, his gas tank just runs on empty. He's got nothing left to give after that. So I fully expect Geruli to be able to handle himself accordingly in the first round, stay solid, stay defensive, maybe mix in some grappling. I don't know what you want. But at any rate, whatever it takes, he will find his way to round 2. And then after he finds his way to round 2, this man will take over the fight. I kind of actually want to take flyers on like the round 2, round 3 sub props. Now, I'm only going off of hearsay here. They're not even good numbers. Geruli by sub round 2 is 19-1. Geruli by sub round 3 is 25-1. You might just want to do like the regular round 2, round 3s, but even those plus 500, plus 650, like those aren't great either. I fully expect him to get Ode out of there. Geruli's an underrated wrestler, and from what I hear, again, there's no proof in the pudding as far as the tape is concerned. From what I hear, he's a very good grappler as well. So yeah, Cameron right there saying Geruli by sub at plus 700, an interesting look, and I agree. I do actually agree that Geruli by sub is an interesting look, because if he gets a dominant position on Ode, that's been the Achilles heel. That's been the weakness. That guy's been submitted a lot. So I kind of like it. The problem for me is, again, it's a bit of a leap of faith because we've never really seen it. Gym talk is that Geruli is very good on the mat, but if he prefers to use his hands, which based on the tape, it looks like he wants to use his hands more often than not, I'm a little nervous taking a sub prop like that just because he may never even look for it. That is the worst, you guys. That's my least favorite thing of all time gambling besides split decision losses is when there's a very clear path to victory for a fighter and they have zero interest in using it. It's like, it's there. You could have done it. You could have had it, but it's dead on arrival. Your money's just in the trash can immediately because they said, nah, that ain't the game for me. No, thank you. I'm not going to play it that way. So, I kind of like the sub. I get it. I think there's value on it if the rumors are true, and also just because that's been Ode's weakness forever. But I'm worried that that's not going to be Geruli's game plan, and because of that, I'm tempted but not sold. So check back. We'll see. Next up, you guys, you got Gerald Mirart taking on Brad Tavvarz, 185.5 for Brad. Looking good. Solid one-arm flex. Big old thick boy up there. Gerald Mirart, king of the mustaches himself, looking good. Business as usual. Little rough on the weigh-ins, but it almost always is, and he always performs very, very well. This one caught me a little off guard, you guys. Gerald is huge. Like, I know Gerald's not a small man, but I didn't think he was going to be this much bigger than than Brad Tavvarz here in this spot. So I jumped in. I jumped in on Gerald Mirart, right? Like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back as soon as I saw the size difference. So I've been saying all week, we've seen Brad Tavvarz trending the wrong direction. Gerald Mirart, quite obviously, still got it. Gerald getting a step down in competition. Arguably, Brad getting a step up in competition, and of the two of them, Brad has looked worse recently than Gerald has. Gerald also, you guys, training with my boy Bilal. And what have I said? What have I said? Training with Bilal is the best base for MMA. These Bilal trained fighters, he's becoming like his own version of Khabib, you guys. These guys that work with him and train with him, the game plans are exceptional. They fight to the game plans perfectly. He figures out a way to get the most out of these guys. And, you know, he's got the best supplements in the game. So there's no reason to not like a guy that's gone off to train with Bilal for a fight camp. So I fully expect to get a good, solid, prepared version of Gerald Mirart for this fight. And on top of that, he is not a bad striker. On top of that, Brad has been taken down recently. So I fully expect Gerald to be able to get his game going here in this fight. And some people were saying, like, the inside the distance or the finish prop for Gerald is his money line. That's like all he's got. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. I think there's some decision equity for Gerald. I think there's some grappling upside for Gerald. I think there's some KO upside for Gerald. I know that, again, Brad Tavvarz is a guy that's known to be tough and durable and doesn't get finished a whole lot, but he's been dropped a couple times recently. And Gerald has very sneaky power and very underrated striking that he's been working hard on the last couple of years. So yeah, I do not agree that his inside the distance or his submission is his money line. I took plus 150. I should have pulled the trigger when he was plus 200, plus 210. I talked about it on Monday, and I kind of got cold feet, and I kind of, you know, pussyfooted around and kicked the can a little bit. And that's on me. That's my bad. But at the end of the day, I made the right decision, and I think I want to be on the side of Gerald Mirart for this fight, so I did, and I've got 3 units on Gerald at plus 150. Let's move along. Next fight up, Holi takes on Cordavius Romeus. 136 for Holi here. Looks like he's in pretty good shape. Blank stare. No emotions whatsoever coming off this guy. And then you've got Cordavius Romeus, who is your weight miss of the week. 139.5. He missed bad. Like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. You look at his face. I mean, obviously, he's pretty sucked out in the face. So I'm not sure what happened here, but he was nowhere near making weight and still looks like he sucked himself down pretty decently here. What's worse is he's actually pretty undersized in this spot. I thought he was going to size up better. I thought he was going to be larger here in this spot. So it does worry me a little bit because I've actually already got a play on Cordavius Romeus. He was my dog of the week from the Monday show. I do like the crazy eyes. I will tell you guys, I appreciate the crazy eyes from Cordavius Romeus. But the size worries me, especially when you're dealing with a grappler who will roll to the back and sometimes play from bottom and look for arm bars and such. That's a bit of a problem for me. But yeah, I just got to continue fading these road to UFC guys. I don't mind violence in this fight, you guys. This is one where I did bet Cortavius Romeus, but if you want to just make a play on the under, I don't mind that either, because Romeus will take bottom sometimes and put himself in a bad position. We've seen Lee is very scrambly. He's very aggressive. He wants to come forward and hurt people. So if if Romeus doesn't get his game going the way you would like to see, Lee might be able to get his game going the way you'd like to see. And these weight misses has been tricky, you guys. They've been really tricky lately. Sometimes it's a trick and people are lying and they come in and they perform great because it's no issue. I'm wondering if Cortavius wanted a little bit of extra strength or something like that coming into this fight. And then other times it's a huge problem because you're coming in actually having a problem, getting sick, not being able to do your cardio, knee injury, staph, shit like that. And then you just get walloped out there. So I'm really afraid of this one, because I think if Cortavius Romeus is healthy coming into this fight, that's the bet that I made. That's what he should be winning, right? But if he's not healthy, if he's having a problem, then I might be hosed. I might just be screwed right out the gates. Maybe Cortavius just gets laid out in this fight and isn't able to get the grappling going and isn't able to do much at all. The UFC has been known for putting people in terrible positions, and if they're willing to say yes and take the fight anyway, they're just like, go ahead, kid, get in there. We'll keep you on the card. So if we're getting a not 100% Cortavius Romeus, I'm actually terrified. Even fading a road to UFC fighter who's just been the easiest fade of all time. Cameron saying this is a great card for dogs, and I agree. White Sox saying that Cortavius coming in with the clothes on is a red flag. I would tend to agree with you, except in my opinion, that actually, it looks like a sweatsuit. So it looks to me like maybe he was thinking about cutting some additional weight. You never know how these things go. Sometimes a camp will not take the fight unless they lose 1 more pound or, stuff like that. So maybe there was something like that going on where I'm not entirely certain it's a massive red flag if that is in fact like a sweat tracksuit like it looks like. But yeah, man, that whole fight has got me a little bit nervous. I was actually really confident coming into that one on Monday. I like Cortavius by low a lot in this spot. Everyone was way high on him in his UFC debut, and I actually bet against him and faded him in his first fight. And now that things have kind of flipped, I'm like, this is easy to take the plus money on the guy everyone was so high on the last time against a worse fighter. But now I'm scared. Now I'm scared. All right. Next fight up, you guys. We have got Pat Sabatini in your co-main event taking on Anderson Breto. Pat Sabatini 145.5, Breto 146 on the dot. And Pat looked really good. Breto looks a little sucked out, a little skinny. When these guys face off, Breto is the larger, more physical man. And he's a Brazilian balloon. He's going to fill up by fight time. He's going to be massive in there on Saturday. Pat Sabatini, very thick though, even though he's a little bit on the shorter side. He's a very, very thick human being. The one thing I want to let you guys know, we got to switch caps for this one though, right? We've got the mental midget angle of the week here on this one. Anderson Breto got in there and tried to punk Pat Sabatini, tried to shoot a fake takedown on him and get him to bite on something, get that mental edge on him. And Pat just stared him down, didn't even flinch, didn't blink, eyes locked on this man. And that's an angle that I feel like you can make an argument, mentally speaking, for the non-flincher. The bully wants to get some kind of a reaction out of you. The bully wants to, make you double think yourself and send you home unhappy and make you question that moment. But the fact that Pat wasn't even worried about it, I think he gets a slight plus on the edge there on that one. So the only problem for me on this fight is this is a tale of two rules here for me, you guys. I don't bet Pat Sabatini. I look to fade that chin. I never want to be on Pat Sabatini because, especially if he's taking on someone fast twitch muscle the way Anderson Breto is, touching that chin once is all it takes. All it takes. This man is the least durable out there, but he's also a world-class grappler, and we've seen Anderson Breto struggle exactly against this type of fighter before. And Anderson Breto is a guy with that weight cut, with how he explodes. If he doesn't get you out of there early, he can slow down, he can tire, and he does make mistakes grappling and give up bad positions. So this is like a must stay away type of spot from a side perspective. I could bet violence on this fight, and I actually think violence is probably a pretty good bet on this fight. I can see Pat Sabatini submitting Anderson Breto. That man is incredible grappling. He's very talented and skilled on the mat. And then Breto, obviously, by knockout, is the most likely outcome for this fight, at least in my opinion. So I kind of like this fight not to go the distance. The total is set at 1.5 right now. Fight doesn't go the distance is minus 280. So yeah, they're not expecting this one to last the entire 15, but they're saying it could get out of the first at least. I'm going to say it's Joanderson Brito by knockout, you guys. That is what my gut tells me, but I will tell you that I respect Pat Sabatini in this spot. I respect the bad matchup that is the grappling we've seen from Joanderson Brito. I can't lay chalk on Brito, and I can't bet on Pat Sabatini. That's all this comes down to. So my only option is an under. If it's an under, then I can play it. But that's it. So I'm going to say it's Brito by KO. I think whether it's first round, second round, third round, eventually Brito finds the button and puts him out. But yeah, I'm not doing anything besides that. Main event time, everybody. We have got Lerone Murphy, and he looked incredible, dialed in, focused on the scales today. That man is jacked, my goodness. And he's taken on my favorite skull with a beard, Josh Emmett. Look at that man's face. You can see every little bit of this man's skull trying to make weight, and his abs are ridiculous. Those things, these like hot dog packs shoved in there. My goodness. Then these two size up. And yes, Lerone Murphy is the larger of the two human beings here, but look at how thick the back and the chest is of my guy, Josh Emmett. This fight is so tough for me, you guys. We have seen Josh Emmett get a little older. We've seen him slow down a little bit, so he might not be able to keep up with the pace and the pressure and the grappling and all of that. But we've also seen Lerone Murphy get tagged on the feet before. We've seen this guy get hit. We've seen him get dropped. We've seen him get hurt. And that's something that worries me about this fight. I am kind of frozen on this main event as well, because I think Josh Emmett only needs one. And those are the types of fights that I honestly think are kind of the hardest to bet, because one side looks minus 500 value in hindsight, but pre-flop, it's like, yeah, he's a dog for a reason. He can wrestle. He can throw volume. It's all there for sure. However, he's 40 years old, and we've seen him get finished before. We've seen him get tired before. We've seen him get wrestled before. So like all the things that Lerone Murphy can do the right way, he should be able to beat Josh Emmett. It does feel like Lerone Murphy by decision is probably the look here. The problem with that for me is Lerone Murphy was getting tired and slowing down in round 3 against Dan Ige, who's very, very similar, in my opinion, to Josh Emmett. More volume, maybe less power, a little bit close. Like, I don't know, but that was a fight that was wearing out Lerone Murphy. So I actually wouldn't be shocked if this wasn't an early KO, but a late KO from Josh Emmett. Looking at these parlays, if you want to get crazy on this one, you guys, the 3, 4, and 5 KOs from Emmett is 22-1, 28-1, 35-1. The KO by itself is plus 450. And I think that's worth a flyer, you know, just because of the defensive struggles we've seen from Lerone Murphy, the way we've seen this guy get caught, get hit. I think Emmett's the kind of guy that can catch a man like that. And yes, Emmett is a little bit older and he's slowed down a tad, but he's not dust. You know, we've seen some of these older guys, especially with modern medicine and the drugs and stuff that they've had. These guys have longer careers these days. There were a couple of older fighters in the last couple of cards that have fought phenomenally well compared to expectation. And I feel like Josh Emmett's a guy that should have been able to have his shot earlier in life, should have been able to compete for, you know, multiple UFC titles. And for whatever reason, they just didn't like the guy and he kind of fell on some bad luck and got kept away from it. But I could see him upsetting Lerone Murphy in this spot. I really could. That power is something else. Tough fight to call. Oh, Josh Emmett's my guy. Do I want to say it? For the sake of being on the right side of history, I'll say Lerone Murphy wins the fight. I can't outright pick Josh Emmett. I want to, you guys. I want to. My soul is screaming. It's Guzzy asks, do you think it's ever Murphy finish in round 1? Maybe, but so the problem for me is the one time that we really saw Josh Emmett get smoked, it was against Yair Rodriguez. And that was round 2, mind you. He also struggled with like the height and the reach, and Yair's a very, very technical striker, very tricky striker, able to keep the range and the distance in a way that most people can't. And then he was able to like rock him and tap him out. Lerone Murphy isn't that kind of fighter. Lerone Murphy's more of a come forward as opposed to keep the distance, and he doesn't have the striking pedigree that someone like Yair does. I don't think Lerone Murphy is a round 1 finisher, generally speaking anyway. He's much more of a He's more of a decisionator these days. I know he's got a lot of round one finishes like on his record, but those were all pre-UFC. You know, in the UFC, the big finish that kind of stands out was when he got Makwan Mirart, and Mirart is the biggest gasser the UFC's ever seen. So the fact that he slowed down in round 2 and got deaded by a knee in that spot, that doesn't mean anything to me. I knew he was going to catch him as soon as he slowed down. The fact that Josh Emmett was able to go a full 25 minutes with Ilia Topuria, that speaks volumes to me, because he was still coming forward and getting after it late in that fight, even being busted up, even being pounded on by what looks to be, you know, someone who's going to be challenging for GOAT status here pretty soon. That's impressive as hell to me, to be able to take all that and still be biting down and winging overhands on your way back in the 5th round of that kind of fight. So I do not think it's a first round finish for Lerone Murphy. Now, maybe if Emmett's dust, right? At 40 years old, your body does things. At 40 years old, you slow down. At 40 years old, you lose the edge. And if that happens, then absolutely, maybe Murphy's able to get an early finish that way. But generally speaking, no, I don't think it is. Streamline Gaming says, boys, I got a free $50 bet and I need you to help me out. What should I throw at it? You guys want to help streaming online gaming out? We're going to be wrapping up this podcast here real quick, you guys. So if you want to throw some options for him in the chat, help the man out. Let me just run back through the action I've got so far and what I plan to add for you guys. Martin Budet, not a guy that I have any action on at this point in time with that late shakeup, but at -160, maybe somebody who I'll be interested in. I say maybe because I got to do my due diligence and I got to get past the Uran tape. I got to be able to figure out whether or not I actually like Budet in this matchup and what I think of his opponent outside of just, you know, hearsay and talking about what other people tell me about this guy. But maybe Budet could be an ad at this point. I'm already on Talita Alan Carr. I told you guys I am too big on Talita Alan Carr. I am upset about the fact that I am overexposed on that fight, but it is what it is. Now we just got to ride or die. You know what? The Estela Nunees and Luk Bunme fight has me all tied up in knots, because I could see a sub for Loma. I could see a decision, robbery, or upset for Nunees. I think the +3.5 at plus money for Nunees could be a good bet. I'm all over the board on that one. So not sure if I'm going to add or not, but you never know. Let me cook on that one tonight and get back to you guys. Reese McKe round 3, 11-1. That's got to be something I probably put in there. Reese McKe live bet, I think, will be more effective than pre-flop, because I think he'll probably lose round 1 and you can get a money line stab there. We're going to get Diana Barbosa inside the distance or by sub, something like that, because that's definitely a spot I want to attack. We've already got Geruli parlayed up. The submission prop is something we might want to add. Robert Valentine, maybe. Faden Torres Finny, maybe. I already bet Gerald Mirart. That number continues to plummet. So if you guys want GM3, you probably should get in sooner than later. I'm already on Cortavius Romeus. I'm terrified of that play, especially with him missing weight. So I've got action all over this card. And then I've just got to decide if I want to ride or die with my boy Josh Emmett. Violence in the co-main event. There's so much action to be had on this card, you guys. This is a really fun card. I think a lot of these fights probably get finished. That's what you get in low-level MMA fights, is low-level MMA things. So I fully expect we're going to have a fun night of fights on this one. Good luck, everybody, on all of your degenerate action. I hope you cash in and make piles. I'll be posting my final picks and plays on all my social media platforms. Find me on Twitter at DieHardMMAPod. Find me on Instagram at DieHardMMAPod. I'm over on Blue Sky these days as well. Facebook, everywhere. You can't get away from me. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Let's make piles. Let's make it 4-1 in the last 5 events. Let's have a big one this week. Let's get a big one this week, you guys. I can feel it. We're this close. We're this close. We're going to hit something nasty this weekend. I'm telling you. Let's freaking go. Let's roll.